What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. We got a lot to talk about on today's episode. Before that, I just got to remind you, we're going to be live later today at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Would love for you guys to join us. We'll be live for about an hour. We got 3 awesome segments for you guys. Of course, I'll be chopping it up with you guys in the comments section. So make sure you're there. To RSVP, do you one big favor. Hit that thumbs up button. John Harbaugh spoke to the media yesterday at the annual NFL team meeting, and I kind of think that he revealed at least part of the Baltimore Ravens draft plan going into the 2025 NFL draft. We're a couple weeks away, and he let some things slip, and let's talk about it. Number one, the thing I think was revealed. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to draft a kicker. And the reason I think that is because John Harbaugh pretty much just flat out said it. Now, I think it's a great idea. I think it's something this team should do. I'm just happy that he's here and he's admitting it. This is what Harbaugh had to say when he's talking on looking at drafting a kicker. It's something we have to do, no matter what, at this point in time. You always got to do your due diligence. We'll be prepared to do that on draft day if we feel like we need to and if the right guy is there. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think this is the right decision. Regardless of what has happened with the whole Justin Tucker situation and his allegations, I think this team, in my opinion, should have been looking at kicker in the draft anyway. We all know that Justin Tucker struggled a lot in 2024. Now, how much of it was because he knew about the pending allegations and how much of it was just because Father Time had kind of started to catch up? Regardless, he struggled. He lost his team some football games. I get it. He's a Hall of Famer. I get it. He's done a ton for this team. And don't hear me saying that Justin Tucker is an awful kicker. What I'm saying is they need to be looking at other options. Now, let's talk a little bit more about those allegations. We've heard a couple of updates as of recently. John Hahn tweeted this out yesterday when John Harbaugh was asked about Justin Tucker, saying he hasn't talked to Justin Tucker in weeks. He's coming up on his rotational players to call. The conversation will just be about the same things he would have talked to him about before the investigation, because he said there's not much more he can talk to him about. And then Sashi Brown spoke on March 30th, which was this past Sunday, and she was asked about the Justin Tucker allegation. She was asked about the team's zero tolerance policy. She said the notion is that we have a zero tolerance policy where we're going to make decisions just merely based on allegations before we have full understanding of the facts, before we allow investigation to continue. We'll never have that policy, all right? So it's obvious from those couple of tweets and from everything we've heard over the past couple weeks, I don't think anything is going to be hashed out, decided soon. And so, yeah, they should be looking kicker in the NFL draft. Before I break down that selection a little bit more, I got a big announcement to make. And this is a hard one. It's really sad for me to sit here and say that this is my final video on the Ravens Rundown. This is the final video of this entire channel. I've really loved getting to cover this team for the last, 8 months or so for you guys. It's been incredibly special. I've been incredibly honored to be a part of this fan base. And I just want to thank you guys for joining me and for just kind of supporting me through this. Psych! Happy April Fools, everybody. Gotcha. And if you believe me, you got to do one thing for me, and that is like the video down below. No more jokes the rest of the video, I promise. But if I got you like I think I did, hit that thumbs up button. So when you look at the NFL draft, I got 5 top kicker prospects to look at. Ryan Fitzgerald out of Florida State. He's everybody's number one. They're looking to get a kicker. Ryan Fitzgerald's going to be the top of the list. Andres Borregales out of Miami. He's a really good option as well. So is Ben Sauls from Pitt. Kenneth Almendarez from Ragin' Cajuns, Louisiana University. And then Caden Davis from Ole Miss. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've done a deep dive into any of their film. I've read a lot of their scouting reports, and I'd feel confident about the Baltimore Ravens selecting any of them. Now, you look at the draft, and this team's got a ton of draft picks. They've got 11 to be exact. 4 falling in the 6th round. And I get it. Nobody likes drafting kickers. Okay? No one likes to do that. However, when you have 11 picks, that helps a little bit. Like if you're going to draft a kicker And you're like the Minnesota Vikings and what, Dylan? They only have 4 draft picks? Yeah, they got 4 draft picks. And if you wanted to spend one of those on a kicker, that would really hurt. But if you have 11 and you spend one of those kicker, it's not going to be that bad. However, I do think they need to think about going in a different direction for kickers. Maybe not drafting, but looking to the UFL, which I believe kicked off this past weekend. And let's talk a little bit of Brandon Aubrey. So he was released by Bethlehem Steel FC in June of 2018. That is a soccer team, for those of you who don't know. I didn't really know either. Not a big soccer fan. He was then drafted by the Birmingham Stallions in 2022 in the UFL. He then signed with the Cowboys after having a great year with the Stallions in 2023. And then in 2023, he had a field goal percentage of 94.7. He was 100% on 50-plus yarders. His longest was 60. And this past year in 2024, the field goal percentage took just a bit of a dip, 84.4%. However, he was still 90% on 50-plus yarders with his longest coming at 65. That's not just him. Let's talk Bates, okay? Kicker that was with the Detroit Lions. He was an undrafted free agent and was released by Houston in July 2023, then went to the Michigan Panthers in December of 2023, made the 2024 All-UFL team in June, signed a 2-year contract with Detroit, and then in 2024, kicked 95% from the field, 100% from 50, and the longest of 58. And the reason we're talking about this is because Justin Tucker struggled in 2024. 6 for 11 on 50-yarders, so barely above 50%. And 22 for 30 just on regular field goals. Okay, he had a really, really bad year. And this is one of the instances, this game against Pittsburgh, where he straight up lost you the game. Straight up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Another one that comes into mind is the game against the Philadelphia Eagles, where he missed not one, but 2 very, very big kicks. And then also you look at Fitzgerald, the kid out of Florida State who I talked about, it being a top prospect. He went 5 for 5 for 50-plus yards this past year with Florida State. He also went 13 for 14 on all of his field goals. One of the very few bright spots with that Florida State team. So coming up, I got more to talk about because Baltimore could be adding in the trenches in the draft. John Harbaugh hinted to that. But before I go any further, make sure you guys go and check out our friends at Fanatics because they just dropped on their website the 2025 NFL draft hats. And let me tell you, folks, I absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. You can get them black. You can get them in this like white cream color. They got the crab on it if you want it. I love that little touch to it. And then if you don't like the trucker style hats, like the real high ones, you like just a classic ball cap, you can get yourself one of those as well in black and also in white. You're going to see a ton of future Raven stars wearing these hats very soon. If you want to be as cool as they are, if you want to fit in with the crowd, if you want to rock with the Ravens, go ahead, go to chatsports.com/RavensDraftHat to get your Ravens draft hat today. I tell you, these are going to be ordered at the wazoo, especially over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to get yours by draft day, go ahead and go there right now. Again, chatsports.com/RavensDraftHat. The link to that promo is in the comments and description of today's video. So they revealed the draft plan with a kicker. And I also believe that John Harbaugh is planning on adding to the offensive line as well. Maybe not in the same way that he's thinking of, drafting a kicker to come in here and compete automatically for a starting spot. But he did say, and this is coming from Jeff Zreback, that he's happy with the state of the offensive line, but there's room to add a few more pieces up front. Meaning, I think he's going to add a little bit more depth. I think he likes the front 5. I think he likes the Great Wall of Baltimore. I think he's confident of the 5 starters that will be going into 2024. But it's when you get to those names on the bottom of this graphic, the Ben Clevelands, the Nick Samaks, the Darian Dalcourts, the Corey Bullocks, all of those guys, where John Harbaugh, Eric DeCosta, and myself kind of begin to scratch our heads and say, I don't love that. And we talked about this last week, but this team already is a bottom 5 spender when it comes to offensive line. Now, a lot of that helps that 3 of those guys in the starting rotation are on rookie contracts. Tyler Linderbaum, in my opinion, won't be on a rookie contract for much longer. But still, this team is a bottom spinner in the offensive line. They're confident what they've got up at the top, but they need to add in, behind the starters. And If they do that, I don't think this is necessarily a group to worry about. I truly don't. I was very pleasantly surprised with how that offensive line played in 2024. It's going to be the exact same thing, except you lose Patrick McCarty to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe Andrew Voorhees can slide in that and maybe not play up to the same snuff that Patrick McCarty did, but be just as good. Because if you look at the PFF grades, Patrick McCarty was the worst offensive lineman on this roster. And now you're replacing him with a guy who the first couple weeks of the season was fine. But again, those are the first couple weeks he's ever started. Now there's a reason that Patrick McCarty replaced him and continued to replace him even after Voorhees came back from injury. But I trust John Harbaugh and I trust this Ravens offensive staff and their confidence in this group, minus Patrick McCarty, going into 2025. Before we get on out of here, let's get you some top prospects to be looking at in the NFL draft. We've given you all these names before. I want to give you a quick rundown on who they could be adding later in the draft this upcoming weeks. For guards, Miles Frazier, Jonah Monheim, Tate Ratledge, Clay Webb would really be happy with any of those selections in the third or fourth round of the draft. I think tackle is going to be a position that goes a little bit later, probably sixth round. Again, you got 4 sixth-round selections, so look at Logan Brown, Charles Grant, Chase Lunt, and Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin. All 4 of those guys could be gone to the Baltimore Ravens in that sixth round game. You got 4 selections, and so I don't think there's any need to go tackle in the first couple of rounds. I get it. You got a lot of good picks. But, at that position solely, you're just drafting for depth. Nobody is going to compete with Roger Rosengard and Ryan Stanley for a starting spot. There's not. Now, they might be great, break glass in case of emergency insurance policies, but still. So I'd expect guard in the fourth. You got 2 fourth-round selections. I expect one of them to be a guard. And I'd expect tackle in the sixth. You got 4 of those. Let me know in the comment section down below, what round do you think the Ravens should pick offensive line in? I just gave you 2. Let me know if you agree with me in the comment section, and if you don't, give me your round. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button before you get on out of here. Really do appreciate the love, support that you guys all show me every single day. Love covering this team for y'all. So if you love it too, make sure you hit that sub button.